Hello and welcome to a Paper Quest side quest, where we provide you with a bite-sized spoiler-free review of one of our solo reads. My name is Jessie, and today I'm going to review Iron Widow, written by Xiran Zhao. I apologize if I got the name wrong. I YouTubed it a lot, and that's as close as I could come. All right, you guys, I am really excited about this book. This book was fabulous. I listened to it on Libby, and the narrator, beautiful. The book, amazing. It's exquisite. I don't need to say anything else. Just go buy it now. Get it on Amazon, prime that thing, run to your bookstore, get it at your library. Just do it. It's amazing. Now you're probably like, okay, what the heck's it about? I got you. Don't worry. I just want to say I think the reason that this was just so cool to me, this book, was because it was a merger of futuristic fantasy and Chinese legend and Chinese culture that I had not seen before in this way. And the combination, this fusion, was like the best fusion restaurant you've ever been to. And just so intriguing, fabulous, and complex. So complex and so cool. So I am just going to call the main characters Iron Widow, because that is what she becomes known as. And I would rather not be a horrible American and say these names really inappropriately. So I apologize for that. That being said, again, the narrator, beautiful. She jumped back and forth between the Chinese and the English in such a lyrical, flowy way that just listening to her, it made my soul soar. And again, highly recommend. So this book follows an 18-year-old girl who has finally agreed to her parents' wishes to enlist in the military as a concubine pilot. Up until this point in her life, she's been basically the traditional Chinese daughter. At the age of 5, her grandmother bound her feet in a terribly painful method, and she has lost the ability to walk on her own and gets around using a cane. But hey, what's broken feet if you can marry better, right? She and her grandmother and mother wait hand and foot on the men of their household, who are not nice and who will beat and berate them on a regular basis, to include Iron Widow's younger brother. Her parents believe that entering the military is an act of submission and obedience, just as her big sister before her. For those who die as a concubine pilot, and most of them do, their families receive compensation, and her family is quite poor, and they would like money to send the brother to school or send him or find him a nice bride. Iron Widow, however, has other plans. She sees the pilot system as unfair to the girls that die over and over and over for the male pilots. The male pilots who are heralded as celebrities and whose kill counts and what form that their weapons take is like on the cover of gossip magazines. They, depending on their chi level, they kill many girls before finding someone who is their equal, if they ever do. Our main character has decided she is going to go and become a concubine pilot in order to kill the boy that killed her big sister. Something I want to say here too is that I found it really pleasant to hear that the way it was written is they didn't say my big sister. She would say that she was going to avenge big sister, or she was going to, or she looked like big sister, and it was the capital B, capital S, and there was something just beautiful about hearing it like that I really enjoyed. Jumping over to what the heck this pilot system is. It's the part of the military that uses these giant machines to fight the war. And the machines run off of the chi that comes from the pilots. Some names of these are White Tiger, the Black Tortoise, and the Vermilion Bird. Just think super massive giant transformer, but there's someone inside controlling it. These giant war machines are called chrysalises, and they sit 2 pilots, a boy and a girl in the yin and yang seats. Boys always have a higher level of chi power, well into the hundreds, while most girls measure somewhere around, 10 to 50. This mismatch causes the boy to pull extra chi or energy from the girls, leaving them completely dead. I don't want to say too much more because it was such a beautiful experience. For me, this book is easily a 5 out of 5, and I will read it again. It was surprising and moving and complex in a way that I hadn't expected. Iron Widow interacts with the Iron Demon, who has his own horrific story, and Iron Widow is also in love with a boy that she met before she joined, and there's just a lot going on there. As you can imagine, the Iron Widow, our main character, breaks the mold that she has been built for, that of the traditional Chinese woman, married, having sons, and there's so much growth and discovery that she and the other characters go through. It's very real and complex in this world that is so fantastical and just different. One other thing that's really interesting about this book is it deals with a lot of gray space, a lot of moral ambiguity. Obviously, Iron Widow is the name of the book. She's our hero, our heroine. She's, strong and interesting, but she makes these choices based on the world around her that one might not say is morally right or good or okay. And it makes her such a fascinating person to explore and to understand. And the way that she interacts with the men and her preconceived notions of them, as well as their preconceived notions of her, is just epic and amazing. And I really can't recommend it enough. If you can get it from your library app, or your local bookstore, please go do that. It's just great, and I feel like I'm just swooning, but I'm very excited too because there is going to be a sequel, and I will be getting that as soon as it's available because I need to know where we're going, and it ends with a pretty decent cliffhanger. Like, you could just read the first one and you'd be like, oh, okay, fine, but I will be reading the first one and any others that the author writes because it was that good. Thank you so much for joining me today. Feel free to head over to any of our socials and let me know if there's other books like this that are like modern fusion with any traditional culture, because I am all about that kind of updated legend, mythology, all of that I find fascinating. Please rate and subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast. It really, truly helps us out. I know everyone says that, but that's how the algorithm works, right? Yes. Follow us at PaperQuest Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Leave us a comment so we know what books you're reading and what you'd like to hear from us in the future. And of course, keep an eye out for our buddy reads where James and I review books together. Happy reading. Bye.